and that is one of the biggest levels of live poker I have ever played. 3 levels to be precise. We came in to the day about 233k, around a little bit above average stack, 4 starting stacks, and now after the first 3 levels we are going to be going into the TV table as chip leader. I believe my stack is over 850,000 chips from a starting stack of 60k. I think there's 14 left, 9 get paid, 17k for the win. Let's get onto this TV table, keep it pushing. I'm excited. Let's go. So we are 3 away from the money. I have 122 big blinds, 730,000 chips. The main cash is going to be about 2.5k and 17k up top for the win. Let's get into it. We're looking to apply a lot of pressure using our big stack to put people under on the bubble. In terms of the players on the table, I don't know too much about Dmitry Rylyakov and Alberto Diaz. But I do know about David Alvarez. He is a decent, competent, a little bit on the tight side Spanish rag. I'm sure he won't mind me saying. And then we've got Raul Mestre, a legend of the Spanish poker game. It's a local tournament for him, so he was here also. So we are going to see some battles with him as well. Into the first hand, we are going to see a raise from Alvarez with King 8 of diamonds on the button, and we are going to defend. 3-betting would not be the most unreasonable, but I think with this hand, I'm happy to just take it post on this occasion. We see a flop of Jack 10-7 with 2 hearts, and our opponent decides to go for a very small bet in this situation. I think a raise would not be unreasonable given that we've got the double gutter, but against this slightly bigger size, which I didn't really expect my opponent to use too much having played them before, I think we're just going to go for the call. The turn, the 3 of clubs, there are no real intentions to donk or do anything fancy, and after I decide to check, he checks it back and we go to a deuce of spades river. And here's a very interesting decision. I really like what I went for here. Although you can see I have the best hand, I went for a very small bet. I think this player is going to expect me to absolutely bomb the river with bluff. So I thought that this bet would find out some ace highs, but I guess we'll never know. Moving on to the next one, we've got the King 10 of diamonds, a hand which we will certainly be raising up. And Gomez, not one to raise the pot lightly, decides that Queens is going to go into the call. I get he's a little bit worried about the bubble perhaps, but this is a very, very strong hand, particularly given how out of line I'm going to be pre-flop. And it also allows Rylyakov, Mestre, and Alvarez into the pot. So we're going to go 5 ways to a flop of King 5-3, which suits me. I think multi-way, we're not going to do much betting at all, going 5-handed to the flop. Our hand pretty happy to check. A small bet would be reasonable as well. But when it comes around to Gomez, after having flattered the Queen's pre, he decides he wants to put in a very small bet, protect his hand. This is mainly going to be better hands than me, and when I see a call in front of me as well, I'm only going to pay. I don't want to raise the pot for the same reasons I mentioned before, and all 3 of us head to the deuce of hearts on the turn. And this one's going to check through, which makes a lot of sense. No one really wants to inflate the pot too much at this point, but when we have a very bricky 7 of clubs river, I think I'm likely going to have the best hand. I don't think my opponent's going to be inclined to play a massive bet here. So I'm just going to go very small, 1.9 blinds, ungreedy. The milkman is out, as they say. Not heard many people say that, in fairness. Rylyakov's going to wisely fold, and Gomez is going to see the bad news. That's why you got to bump up the price of poker pre-flop in these live tournaments with your strong hands. Otherwise, you're going to go a million ways, and someone's going to outflop you. As you can see, our chip stack has risen to over 1 million. We've got 100 blinds, and we have a very interesting decision against Raul Mestre here. To give some context on this, I'd been chatting to Raul Mestre a lot earlier, and I believe that he considers me to be a very aggressive young reg that is out here to try and battle with him. And additionally, he has no care for the ICM. He has already said as much, and he is a very, very rich man. So I think he is going to think I'm way, way out of line in this spot. And when that's the case, you need to expand your value range. So normally I think ace queen suited as the chip leader, 2 away from the money here, would be your get-in threshold. However, I'm going to expand it to ace jack suited and hope that he is going to pure barrel all of his low ace x suited, all of his pocket pairs, maybe even some queen jack, jack 10 suited is going to work for me as well. So yeah, I decided to go for the 3-bet call. Unfortunately, we can see the bad news. He has pocket queens, and of course I've not 3-bet to fold, so I'm going to flick in the call. We go to a flop of king 6-5, deuce on the turn. It's not looking good. 5 on the river seals our fate. Let me know what you would have done in this spot, and try not to be too results oriented based on his hand. But call could have been better. So now we are back down to 58 blinds, 694k, and things are a little less easy. But we are going to arrive to the ace 10 offsuit, of course, mandatory raise on the button. Delighted to get in the mixer with this hand. We're going to have a very wide range on the button, and Rylyakov is going to make the call from the big blind. He's a bit of a interesting player who does some slightly unorthodox plays, as we're going to see here. Going for the donk on King Jack Deuce, certainly a board that is going to favour my range. And for a decently big size of 3.2 blinds, not making it too comfortable with my hand, it's going to be a pretty clear call. Now when he goes for the check, I think he's going to have so many of these 10-9, Queen 10, flush draw hands. At best, he's going to have a hand like some weird Jack 6 suited. So I think I'm going to go for a stun, small bit of value on the turn. And on the 7 of diamonds, after he checks again, my plan was just a stun. I was really considering if I wanted to value jam because I thought I was going to almost have the best hand, but I felt like he was just going to fold on the bubble. So I got my little bit of value on the turn and we checked it back. I'm pretty proud of this hand. I think it's a nice realization of the spot I was in. Just going for my small bit of value and stunning him on the turn. Now we're back up to 813k. We're 5-handed at the minute and we are on the stone bubble. Raul Mestre is going to raise to 2 big blinds, and this is my favorite hand of the day, guys. This is one of the spiciest hands I've played in live poker in a minute. The flop comes Jack Jack 4 Rainbow, and Raul is going to bet out for 1.3 blinds, a very small bet. And with 8s, I think we're going to continue a lot with raises here. Our 4s and our pocket pairs like 8s are going to need a bit of protection, and our Jack X wants to drive value, and so we can drive value with these hands. And facing the raise, he goes for a click. Scary, but I wasn't sure he was going to play his jacks like this. Then on the 4 of spades turn, I'm going to go for a donk. This is pretty unorthodox, but I want to drive more value. I don't think he'll play his Jack X like this, and I can rep a 4 or a Jack reasonably, so I think I can just protect my hand against Ace X. Then on the river here, we are just going to check. There is no more value really to be driven from our hand. He's still going to have some strong hands in his range. I want to let him bluff. I want to show down versus an ace. I was pretty sure he had an ace in this spot, and he does decide to check back after thinking briefly with the ace 9 of clubs, and I ship a pot, and the commentators couldn't believe this one. Next up, still being on the stone bubble, we are going to be raising the Queen 9 off. People don't have much incentive to play back at us, so we are going to raise the Queen 9 offsuit, and we're going to go to a flop of King Jack Deuce. We flopped the gutter, we got the Queen of clubs. This is going to be a pure barrel. As we can see, our opponent has flopped top pair, but is he going to be willing to hang on? This is what we're going to find out. I'm going to see bet the flop. Think this is going to be a range bet in this spot for a small size, and Diaz going to make the call. I had the read that Diaz was a very tight player, so I was planning to barrel turn and likely give up river on non-club cards and follow through on some clubs, and of course on a 10, because that would be a straight. So I go for a big barrel on the turn. His hand really should have a pretty mandatory call. He's going to be pretty much at the top of his range, given that he's going to raise stronger King X on the flop versus my very small bet. So the fact that he's in the tank is a very good sign for my bluff. And after the big sizing, he thinks if he calls turn, he's going to have to call river. He wants to make the money. He reluctantly slides his hand into the mark, and we win a pot which we had no right of taking. This next hand is, I said the last hand against Raul was spicy. This one is a doozy. We see Alvarez limp on the bottom. The small blind has 5 bigs. I wasn't really sure what range he was going to be doing this with, but I thought a hand like Ace Queen was unlikely to be in there. He's going to have a wide range that I thought would consist of lots of suited connectors. And when I don't ISO pre, on the flop of Ace 9-5, I believe he's going to range bet. I had ideas of raising now. However, I don't think I can credibly raise much for value here. I don't think I can represent many strong hands, so I decide to call. I get a great price, and I had some dangerous intentions. The turn comes to 6 of diamonds. All of a sudden, I can represent some strong hands. I want to fold out immediately hands like Queen Jack, King Jack, Jack 10 suited, get some protection for my hand. So I'm going to donk for 40k, and then he is going to pretty quickly call. I expect against this size of donk in this pot, he's going to raise all of his 2 pairs, and a 4 is one at which I can bluff. I think I'm going to have a lot of hands like 8-7 on the turn, making a straight, 6-5, 9-6, 9-5, 2 pairs with the ace. So I'm going to go for a big bet on the river. We overbet. I know this player is on the tighter side. I know he's likely to find some excuses to fold. He tanked for a long time. He later told me he regretted this spot, but he lets it go. And this is an example of how you can use a lot of aggression in live poker to find your way there. Here we can see the pay jumps. It's 2.3k for the min cash, 17k up top. It's a huge one, and we arrive to what will be a pivotal hand in our tournament. We have kings on the button, something that is no short of a disgrace given how wide I'm going to be raising. And Raul, knowing what he has to do with ace 8 suited, snap jams. He sees me snap him off. I honestly feel a little bit embarrassed about it, to be honest, because we both know how wide I'm going to be in this spot. And we're heading to a run out. 10-10 deuce. Things are looking good. No Barry Greenstein. I do not want to see you here today. The river. the 6 of diamonds. Not a counterfeit, as Keke de Bamos might think, but actually gives me the win. I've got 1.4 mil. We've burst the bubble, and we're heading onto the FT. Nothing much that interesting happened heading onto the FT, and immediately we've lost a player. We're down to 6. We've got a pay jump, and now we are in the small blind over a Diaz raise. What we're going to do with King Jack, we make the call, and we arrive to another very nice flop of King 10-7. It's going to go check, check on the flop. We know that this player is tight, so on a 10 turn, I think it's good to just check again. I'm trying to look very uninterested in the hand, trying to get him to potentially bluff. I think he's going to check back 10x on the flop. And on the river, I know people like to hero call these rivers, but this guy does not like paying big sizings at all, so I need to make it very easy for him with my king. He thinks I'm going to bluff a decent amount, so 1.8 blinds. Please pay me. The milkman is back out again. He flicks in the chip. Look how upset he is to do it. And I'll be showing a king. Also great to roll over a value hand against these kind of players. The next hand I'm raising ace-4 off under the gun. Again, we are 6-handed. I have a big chip lead and I'm putting people under pressure. And the nightmare situation, he has the pocket rocket, a hand which famously has ace-4 in very, very bad shape. Diaz, a little bit of Hollywood, a bit of Leo DiCaprio. Obviously, I've got to flick it in. I'm priced in. But ladies and gentlemen, all I will say, sometimes the day is your day. 4 in the window, another one behind. Diaz cannot believe his eyes. It is a bit embarrassing, but honestly, I had to stop myself bursting out laughing here because I did find it very, very funny, to be honest. Not the most consequential part in terms of blinds in the middle, but another 4 on the turn. That's quads. Any more 4s in the deck? Rip one more out. The urge to burst out laughing was very, very strong. It did get the better of me in the end. And now we're in an interesting spot. Crespo on in the small blind is going to raise. I have a hand that can just jam here. This guy is a very, very, very aggressive player, and he is going to be raising an awful lot. I do go for the jam. I think it's going to be pretty good in theory. Maybe I could 3-bet non-all-in as an exploit, but we see the bad news. It is ace-king, and we're praying for a chop. The chop does not come. Crespo is going to take it, and just like that, we are no longer the chip leader, 5-handed, and we now are going to have to battle. It's anyone's game, as you can see. In this next hand, I've raised Queen 8 off from the cutoff. It's going to be pretty good in general, and a very interesting player, Yang, makes the call from the big blind, and we see a flop, which is not going to be ideal for us in the slightest. It looks ideal on the surface. We've got top pair and a decently strong one at that. But when I go for the bet, Yang is going to make a small raise. I genuinely was pretty terrified here, but it could have been a worse 8. It could have been a flush draw. The small size of the raise is what made me think there's a chance I could make an exploitative fold. But ultimately, I thought it was best to just get the biscuits in against the worst 8x and flush draws. I hadn't seen enough evidence to go with this read. And as you can see, we are as good as dead on the turn here, and there you go, that seals our fate. We are down to 25 blinds, things taking a turn for the worse. We are now 4th out of the 5 players remaining. Can we pull something from the fire here and still record ourselves a big, big score? From the cutoff, we are going to keep raising our hands. Block-eccentric hands with the ace in it are going to be much, much better in this kind of situation where pre-flop battles are occurring. We're against Yang again. So far, he'd been very, very value-driven at this point. So we arrive to a flop of ace, queen, jack. He is going to go for a check, and I'm going to go for a c-bet like I'm going to do a lot on this board. We have a hand which would be the worst check back, but we are just going to bet, and Yang flicks in a very quick call. Pair equals call. I mean, he maybe could fold. On the 5 of clubs turn, he's going to check. I'm going to check it back. And here comes a river, and this hand pains me a little bit to watch about. He's going to snap out a bet. I had seen him make exactly 0 bluffs, and to be honest, I thought all his pairs were going to check because they have like some kind of fake showdown value. But ultimately, I'm getting an absurdly good price, and I do have a flush. I beat any bluff, so I make a fold, which I thought at the time was very disciplined. But even though I think it was a reasonable assumption to think he wasn't going to be bluffing that much, ultimately the price I think was too good. And I do regret this hand. Now 5-handed, Crespo is in the small blind, and he is getting it in versus under the gun. We are praying for a 7, and a 7 arrives. Not to anti-sweat my friend Alvarez. However, the pay jump is important. We are down to 4. Crespo getting lucky, and we can see here that he's a very aggressive player. is going to put people under. And now it's going to be a race to second, or so it seems. Crespo has heaps, 66 blinds, and over a small blind raise here. I'm going to make the call. The chips have flattened out a little bit. And where are we now? Crespo with the king 9 with the heart. What is he going to do on this flop? What approach is he going to take? And if I know Crespo, and I know him well, he is going to come out betting. I've got ace-3 of hearts. I don't think there's much sense in raising, to be completely honest. We are simply going to make the call and see what happens on the later streets. A jack of clubs on the turn is not ideal. I did foresee a lot of backdoor flush draws, which are going to continue barreling. And of course, he's going to have a lot of 9 and 10x. So when he goes for this barrel on the turn, I'm still going to have plenty of hands that are going to beat him. He's going to have plenty of hands, which are going to still be losing to me. And of course, I have the nut flush draw. I'm not going anywhere. I can call us some hands if I hit the right river, which is the 7 of spades. Not the right river. He thinks about it for a long time, ends up checking. I check back. He is going to be kicking himself to see my hand. It would have been an interesting spot if he had have gone for it on the river. But we do take it, and I've overtaken him in chips. And now we have another blind v blind encounter with the same player, and this is going to be an important hand also. Crespo with the queen, 7 of clubs in the small blind. What's he going to do on the flop? We know his game plan by now. He is a man that likes to bet. By this point, I've got it in my mind that he is going to be overstabbing a lot. So with these lower gut shots, I'm going to be fighting back. Of course, I'd prefer if I had a backdoor flush draw. But given that I think he could have all sorts of hands, I'm going to go for a very small raise. What if he's got 6-5 of hearts here? What's he going to do, for example? But with the back doors, he is going to correctly make the call. And on the turn 8 of clubs, this is one of those hands which I'm going to be forced to barrel. Given that I just have 10 high, given that I have the straight draw, we are going to be going for the turn bet, hoping to put him under pressure with some ace high type hands. But unfortunately, as you can see, he's got the flush draw. He's not going anywhere. I'm eagerly awaiting the river. Can we have a queen? Can we have a 7? Little did I know my outs were blocked by his hand. It's a brick. It's the 3 of diamonds. He checks. And now I have a big decision. I'm blocking the spades. I'm blocking the clubs. I have to go for a jam here. 10 high. This is a mandatory all-in. It did not feel comfortable because I thought this guy was going to look me up a lot. And oh my god, for a second I thought he was going to find the sickest hero call of a lifetime. But he lets it go, and just like that, we're back in the chip lead. It's a swingy game, ladies and gents. But can we end the swing on top? Now with Jack 9 of clubs, we are going to call from the small blind. Yang is going to check back. He was very passive in these blind v blind encounters, so a lot of good opportunities to see some flops with him. And on this flop comes a 4. However, as you can see, we got plenty of hopes and dreams. We got a gut shot. We got some pairs above the 4. And he's going to call the flop bet. And on the turn, it feels like barrel o'clock. But for some reason, I go for a check. I think I just thought his calling range was too strong. I really think I would prefer a barrel here. This is like a really weird line from me. Looking back on this, I don't like it at all. I think I should just barrel the turn. I'm just going to win a lot. He's going to have some ace highs that will fold. He's going to have some 4x that will fold. So I think this bet check bet is optimistic and is not going to work that well. And he's going to make a call. He's got a 4, mate. That's 3 of a kind. I mean, the bluff on the river is not terrible. I just think it would work better here. And now we arrive to a hand that will haunt me. See, I thought Crespo was a very aggressive reg. I didn't necessarily think he was the best or the most accurate, but I got a slightly wrong profile of him. And even though I thought he was aggro, I thought he was respecting ICM a little bit more than he turns out it was. With a slight lead here, 26 blinds, facing 15 blinds and 17 big blinds, I'm going to have to go for a jam with King 3 suited. I have a few different options, but I was getting rejammed on an awful lot, which I thought was a reflection of an understanding of the ICM considerations. But when I go for a jam, Crespo enters a long tank. Worth noting, it's about 3 a.m. at this point. He says, fuck it. I'm flicking the chips in with ace 5, a disastrous ICM call. But what are you going to do? We're still live. 8-5-3 on the flop is bad news for us. We are waiting very patiently for a turn. We want to see a king, but the ace on the turn means we just have a deuce to hit. We don't find it, and we are crippled down to 8 big blinds. That was an absolute dagger, and now we are clinging on, trying to find a third by any means possible. Yang jams on the button. We see a rejam from the small blind. I peel king queen. it's a disciplined fold. It's going to have to be, because if we see Crespo defeat Yang, well then, we are going to get that pay jump to second, which is worth absolutely thousands and thousands of dollars. If we see a 10 here, I frankly think it would be too much to take. There's a Jack of Hearts on the turn. Please no 10. This is worth an awful lot of money. The river is a 4. We do see the knockout, and we are heads up for a title. We may be big chip underdog, but can we get something going? There are 2 players remaining. There's handshakes from all involved. I'm still reeling from that King 3 suited hand, but here we go. The heads up match is begun, and as you can see, I'm gonna need a minor miracle. I jam the King 4-0, and with King High in the big blind, he is gonna make the call. We go off to a run out. There's going to be a lot of chops here, of course. Jack 8-7. I'm smelling chop opportunities, but a 4 would give me the win. A 5 would give him, but ultimately we're just going to chop it up. We're going to take the chips back, and we live to fight another day. Crespo is going to jam Queen 9 off. 5.6 blinds. The big blind antes are worth heaps, so Queen 6 just going to be a call. Unfortunately, we're praying for that chop to come back and save us once again. The Ace 10-7. He has the better diamond draw. It's not looking good for us. The turn comes the King of Diamonds. We are drawing dead, and unfortunately, we are going to end up second. A very big run. Congratulations to Crespo. He played a very aggressive style, and he has taken down the tournament. We couldn't quite wrap up the victory, but second place at about $15,000, 13,000 euros is a pretty good consolation prize. If you did enjoy this video, comment down below your favorite hand and drop it a like. If you want to see some more live videos, the WSOP is coming right around the corner. Hopefully we can find ourselves another TV table. If we do, it's going to be a pretty big spot. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.